Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Stark. This is Steve Sidwell.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
We have an important message for you. Crouchy just nipped out to the loo. We're in the pub, and we've been told to tell you that you need to hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet, but you love being part of this world and you enjoy the podcast. We need you to hit subscribe on YouTube. Isn't that right, Sid?
Yeah, listen. We love what we do. We, in this wacky world, we go off-piste. You bring us back into play. It's enjoyable. We know you love doing it as well. Listening in, watching in, keep focused and keep doing it.
Yeah, so be like Steve, subscribe well, and you can enjoy more of this fab content.
Hello and welcome to That Peter Crouch podcast, the Euro Club. Yeah. How are we, boys? All good? All recovered? Obviously, we're in different locations today.
Yeah, you look a bit, what is that, chic, shabby, that sort of look you're going for. It's, whereabouts are you in the world, Crouchy?
I'm away at the moment. I'm in Spain. I've just took a little bit of time off, but I'm here for everyone.
Oh, so I heard wrong, because I heard you were going out to Europe, and what I'd assumed is you were out in Germany somewhere, and I just assumed that you were there helping the England team, or perhaps this is your sort of side mission. Crouchy's been called up in some sort of coaching capacity, but the rumours aren't true.
No, I'm hoping we get through the semi, and then I'm trying to go over there 100%. I couldn't go out for the semi final, unfortunately, but I'm just praying we get through because I will be out there.
Well, let's start there then. So we're at the semi final. Yeah. So look, it's been a bit of a journey to get here so far, but the end result is kind of feels like it's coming home. Am I right?
Oh, mate, you got early there. That's a big shout. That phrase was banned on this podcast at the start, if you remember.
Yeah, you're right. But how was it? So let's catch up. Where were you watching the game on Saturday? How was your experience? I was in Hyde Park at Robbie Williams. I just want to say thank you to everyone that got in touch, offering phones and iPads that were brought in and that to watch the game. I had so many messages on Instagram from people saying, I'm at the Robbie Williams gig as well. Let's watch the game together. I managed to find a screen, so I was absolutely buzzing.
Where was that screen, mate? Where did you actually watch it?
Well, I was kind of like managed to blag my way a bit backstage.
Okay. So the VIP.
But it was quite cool. But the thing is, I was in a bit of delay. So with the penalties, I could hear the cheering before I saw it on the screen.
That's no good. That's a killer.
Very odd situation.
It's not ideal, that, is it? But it's good there, isn't it, Hyde Park? Like, I was there, Kings Leon. You did Robbie Williams. How was he? I see Danny Dyer was on stage with him.
Danny Dyer was on stage. I weirdly found myself next to Mason Mount watching the penalties, which was a good take as well. But no, Robbie Williams was exceptional. You got to think, England go through like that, and even Robbie said it on stage. That he was worried about England not getting through, and then there being a terrible atmosphere. But what a party it was! What a party to celebrate England going through. I know he wasn't there just for that, but it kind of took on a new sort of prominence with it. I've got to be honest, I had quite a lot to drink, and I don't remember parts.
Well, that's what it's all about, I suppose. Where was you, Pete? Was you away watching it, or was you at home still?
No, I was at Wimbledon, believe it or not. I went to Wimbledon. I took the girls there, Sophia and Ab, and we went down there. It was great day. We got well looked after, I have to say, and it was amazing. It was actually, bizarrely, it was Sports Saturday that day. And obviously, lots of sportsmen were in the Royal Box. I didn't receive that invite. I feel like I got shithoused a little bit because obviously I was out of it, and I was with actually Joe Cole was sitting on one side of me, and Austin Healy was sitting the other side of me, and we were watching and we were just watching all the sportsmen get up and giving them a round of applause, and then we were all kind of look at the state of us.
I saw this. So is this one day that happens at Wimbledon?
Sports Saturday, yeah.
So this is what I saw this. I saw the clip of it afterwards where they all stand up at a time and wave.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were going to do it.
Well, you were just going to do it anyway.
Austin Healy said to me, should we just stand up? And I'll just shout at the top of my voice. He was proper shit out of me. He said, I think he said 3 caps for England, 150 substitute appearances in the Premier League, lankiest striker to ever play league football, Peter Crouch. And I just stand up.
I suppose the thing is, I take it it's a bit more respectful and subdued audience here, because if that's a football audience crowd, people around you, they're going to be going, "Oi, Crouchy's here, Joe Cole's here as well." So they'd make it known that you was obviously present.
Well, what I found was in the royal box, it's very much, it's very highbrow, isn't it? You know what I mean? I think the clientele that certainly I bring, I think would lower the tone maybe of Wimbledon.
Well, was it a snub? Are you saying it's a snub?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it felt like a snub at the time, but obviously, listen, Guardiola was in there, some fantastic sportsmen. It was funny just to seeing like Guardiola and how much he was into the tennis. Really enjoys it. But actually, we watched the Cam Norrie Zverev, I'm going to call it. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. But after the game, he did an interview, and he was like, "I felt so nervous playing in front of Guardiola," and he said it to Pep in the stand. It was great to go.
Yeah, I did see the clip of Pep doing the hands, talking to someone. I can't remember who it was, but he was talking to someone about the game, but doing his manager hands, even though it was tennis. Crouchy, I don't want to fuel the fire with this, but not being allowed in the royal box, we have previously talked about Beck's attempt to get a knighthood. Does feel that the Royals haven't wanted you in that box for this particular Wimbledon, and does that mean it's probably a no on the New Year's honours list?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, obviously, because we're good pals with Prince William, obviously, but I guess he's not making decisions. It appears.
Well, Joe, I might have to have a word, because one of the parents in my younger one's football team, his better half, she runs the raw box at Wimbledon, so she gives the nod of approval for people to go in and out. So,
really,
I'll have to put you high up the list. She might be retiring soon. I've got a feeling she said she might be leaving that job soon. She's I think for the last 25 years.
We'll get in there,
she's
Sid.
done it,
Sir Sidwell. That would be amazing. Steve Sirwell.
Sir Sidwell, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be done. Okay, so should we dig in on the football then? So,
come on,
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing result, an amazing penalty shootout. How many penalty shootouts have we seen where it's all gone to shit? And Crouchy, I even saw a picture today that Gary Neville put up of all you guys in 2006, and there's heartbreak, and you see the whole team stood there. And I mean, was it the best representation of penalties that the national team's ever given? Honestly,
it was just phenomenal. I have to say, obviously, I was at Wimbledon, but I did pack up the girls very early and head home. Not a million miles away from there, so we watched it at home. But obviously, they the girls in my family, they love drama, so they didn't watch any of the game and then came in for the penalty shootout. I have to say, I thought England played a lot better. I thought the three at the back seemed to suit us more. I thought there were some great performances. I thought Saka was skinning his fullback every time he got the ball, and just couldn't live with him. I have to commend Konsa coming in as well for Gay. I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought we played much better. But the penalties, I have to say, were absolutely unbelievable. Like, I cannot get my head round. Like, it feels like they're just breeding people different now. Like, when I look at Ivan Toney, right? Someone said to me, I can't wait for Toney to take a pen. I said, it's going to take some big balls for him to take the penalty the way he normally takes them. And like, it didn't look like he was nervous at once. How he's not looking at the ball in a moment like that and taking it the way he did. But every single one just had a bit about it. Like Bellingham strolling it, like just walking it into the corner. Trent's was just perfection. Every single penalty was a representation.
Even Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer's first one, wasn't it, Crouchy, as well?
Cole Palmer, yeah.
First one.
Every single penalty was a representation of that player's personality, I felt.
That's such a good way to put it.
It generally was, because none of them flapped. Every single one of them did exactly what their persona is. Obviously Cole Palmer being so calm, and, Toney, the way he takes his, Trent, absolute precision. It was just absolute perfection.
Can we dig in on Tony's penalty then? Everyone's talking about it. I've never really seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a huge amount of confidence to be able to. I mean, he doesn't break eye line. He doesn't look at the ball. Just talk us through that, Crouchy, to be able to take a penalty like that in that situation. Just really spell out how crazy that was as a goal.
Well, I had an argument with my mate straight after it. He said, I said, I can do that. He said, you can't do that, right? So I went into the playroom and I got a Furby out on the floor, and I didn't have a ball, but I said, I'm going to put it through that door without looking at it, right? And walked up to it. To be fair, didn't look at the ball, put the Furby top left through the door, no problem. But could I do that in a Euros knockout match? Absolutely not. But I could do it with the Furby straight after the game.
That is what he was brought there to do, wasn't it? You think of it, he was never going to start. If something did happen to Harry Kane and he was going to get a chance, then that was his time. But he was there for that moment.
Do you think he'd do it again? Do you think?
Yeah, that's the way he does it. He's done it. That's the way. That's his knack of taking penalties. So it's one of them, when it goes in, it's great. If it doesn't go in, then it's like.
But I have to say, right, my respect for Tony was high anyway, right? But to do it on that stage and stay true to like what I feel like I'm in Love Island here, stay true to himself, and take it the way he does. Like I just thought it was balls of steel and just shows, that he's the real deal, in my opinion. I mean, it was just because I think it heaps so much more pressure on you when you are kind of like, as Sid says, there for that moment. It's like, well, if you fluff that moment, it's like, well, why are you there? Do you know what I mean? And like, he just did it how he does it every single time we see him take a penalty. I thought it was an unbelievable kind of show of character from him.
Yeah. And people talk about flair, and they talk about throughout this tournament, maybe even suggesting, it's not been suggested, actually, it's been heavy criticism almost levelled at them about not showing this quality and not showing this flair. But I guess what they're proving throughout this tournament is that when it needs to happen, it does happen. And we're past the point of coincidence or luck now, aren't we? It's semi-finals, and perhaps that show with that penalty, the penalties, they must be buzzing off that. I mean, how does it work in camp, Crouchy, after a game like that, and you've got a few days, and it's a strange gap, this, between that match and the semis, and how much confidence would that penalty shootout give that team? And do you think it was the right boost at the right time?
Yeah, I think they played better as well. I think they'll be bounced around the camp. It's so weird that like from one game to the next, the mood with the nation, with the team, with the camp. The thing is, in the camp is you can't get too high and you can't get too low. So everything's kind of on a much more even keel than the nation. Because like if we don't play well, we're the worst team and we've got the worst manager of all time. And then when we do, it's like we're going to win it. It's coming home. It's like we're either here or we're there, and it is pretty ridiculous. And I think in the camp, all you do is you try and keep as grounded as you can be with. I mean, I don't know how they cope with all kind of social media and the noise around that, because players will be looking at that. Because in my day, obviously, that wasn't so prevalent. So you could kind of block it out. But so nowadays, obviously, they must just be, keeping themselves on an even keel.
It's amazing when you say that, like we're either here or there, because up until the Swiss scored, even 0-0, 75 minutes, I'm thinking we're gonna get a goal, we're gonna get a chance. When Switzerland went 1-0 up with 15 to go, I was like, we're done.
Did you think that?
I did. I didn't see us getting a reaction. I
don't know, man. Like, I think because of the Bellingham goal before, there was this weird. It was like almost the joke around me was, don't worry, someone will score.
Yeah. Well, like an Alex Ferguson Man United moment. The longer it goes on, we'll always score.
Yeah.
Maybe listen, if we get that trait, it's brilliant to have.
But it is, yeah. I mean, having that sort of second life and knowing you can go a goal down and still, this isn't the first time this has happened now, and it's great to see that we can do that. I do agree though, Crouchy. I think these massive highs, these massive lows. I think one of the things that we talked about on the last podcast was around the leaking of tactics and whether that was avoidable. And Gareth ended up talking about this and saying, it's not helpful. And why is it, as a national team, basically, you have almost forces working against you that you'd think would want to benefit and support. Didn't quite use those words, so I don't want to misquote him, but he did say it was unhelpful, and that's kind of obvious, I guess. You don't want the leaking of tactics 3 days before. Do you think, given how prominent that conversation was before the last game, that going into the semi-finals, actually people might hold off on that information, and actually there is a bit more unity around this England team with the fans now? And hopefully the media.
It's happened since the start of time. I said it last time. It just will always come out. You got to remember how many people from the press, how many TV outlets, how many newspapers, that radio, how many people are around the camp every single day, and agents, families. It unfortunately will get that. I don't see how that changes unless Gareth keeps the players guessing, because they are going to, if I'm not starting on the weekend, I'm going to say to my dad, I'm not playing, or I am playing, get ready for this, you can't help it. And then my dad tells his best mate, it just, things happen and they get out.
That's cool. So the idea is the players might not even know. At that point, as a manager, you maybe make a decision to just hold that back. And
yeah, Rafa used to do that. Rafa used to do that all the time. It's like we wouldn't have a clue what the team would be sometimes until it was announced on the Saturday. You'd play a certain shape, but you'd have the personnel you wouldn't know. But I have to say as well, like a couple of shout-outs to, I think, Jordan Pickford definitely. Obviously, the shithousery was fantastic. And I also felt Trent stepping up after probably being really disappointed not to start the game, really. Having said that, I thought Trippier played really well. But, Trent was probably, I thought, a shoo-in for the right wing-back slot. And then for him not to play, and then to step up and just and do his job, I thought showed a lot of kudos. But Pickford as well with what do you make of it written on the water bottle?
it's just so clear, isn't it? And when you look at...
We've got an image here, haven't we? Look, and it literally says the player's name on the left, and it says dive left, dive right, set, react.
Yeah.
But I mean, the information is phenomenal. I don't know where that goes in terms of... I know it's obviously a little bit of shithousery, but is it gamesmanship? Is it... I don't want to say cheating, because... I mean, it's information you're being fed, but how are we sort of saying this?
I think it takes the pressure off Pickford massively. Like, if he's got that written down, right, and they've discussed it in a meeting before, it kind of I reckon you bounce into a penalty shootout, because you go, well, he's taking it there. You have a look, you go, right, I'm going to wait, I'm going to hold, and then dive late. Or, he whips it, and you just go full throttle, right. You have no doubt in your mind where you're going to dive.
But my concern is, Crouchy, if this information's written on the bottle, I don't know at what point this bottle comes into play, but if you were on the other team, you're doing whatever you can to get a glimpse of that bottle.
Have you seen the lad that launched the bottle into the crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Great shithousery. Thing is, if you're Holland, right, like the next game, or the Netherlands. I've never got to the bottom of why they're not called Holland anymore, but I'm sure there's a reason.
Do we know that? Does anyone know
Actually,
that?
does anyone
Netherlands
know why
and Holland?
it's like we give them two different names? So my auntie Trees, she's actually called Marion. I've never clocked why we...
So your auntie...
My auntie Trees, she's called Marion.
Can I just give you some factual information on Holland and Netherlands?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for it.
And why it is. Holland is actually just part of the Netherlands. One that lies along most of the coast and includes the country's 3 largest cities. So the Dutch people that English traders met were typically from Holland, which is why we refer to them as Holland, the name became more generally used because English people would meet people from Holland. But the Netherlands is inclusive of all regions, and that is why they are now referred to the Netherlands, because I grew up just with Holland. So I found it very strange that they're now called the Netherlands, but it's the correct term.
So are you gonna change your ways now? Are you gonna call them these people from the Netherlands, or are you gonna stick with Holland all your life?
When I'm on a public platform, I'm going to say Netherlands because it's factually correct. When I'm with my mates, I'm still going to call them Holland. If that's okay.
Yeah,
That's probably about right.
I agree.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Another question for you, Crouchy, just because you're a fountain of knowledge on this podcast. We get given a star on our kit if we win the World Cup, but nothing for the Euros. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
Does that need to change? Because if you think about it, winning the Euros, I'm not saying it's the same as winning the World Cup, but even with 3 Lions, you
It's a
talk
major
about 30
tournament.
years of hurt and all this, it feels such a shame if we actually win this thing, but it's not represented on the
I
kit.
get what you're saying. So the star represents the World Cup. So what if we was to win the Euros? What would represent that on our kit?
Yeah, what moving forward? Otherwise, we'll still be with the 1 star. I'm not proposing half a star here because it's just the Euros are half a World Cup, which I disagree with. But what I mean is, it feels like there needs to be something there, and I don't know what that thing should be.
So what do you advocate for winning Euros then? Just like, 'cause like the sleeve sponsor came in, like something like that. Could you not have could they not start a few stars on the sleeve? So you have one on the crest of the World Cup, and you have a couple of stars on the arm.
I don't know. Let's throw it out there, because you know what? If someone can come with the right suggestion here, I'd love us to be able to celebrate if we win the Euros. Obviously, getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but if we were to win the Euros, it would be nice to have something on there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we can get to the bottom of this, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Okay, right. England, Netherlands. It's time for some predictions with Paddy Powers. Big game of the round. Of course, it's England versus the Netherlands, not Holland. A reminder that Paddy Power have a completely free bet builder on this game. The odds are England favourites. The Netherlands are 21-10, so tenner gets you 31, and England are 6-4, so tenner will get you 25 quid back. The draw is 9-5. England's a scrape through on penalties. 15-2, tenner gets you 85, which is not a bad shout. Tight one again, over 1.5 goals. Yes, 9-20. I think again this is going to be tight. Personally, I think these games are just, there's so much on at stake. Very rarely do I think we're going to go out and smash teams. I mean, obviously, the biggest one was Euro '96 when we did Holland. That was Netherlands, sorry. It was an amazing game, wasn't it, at Wembley that day? What another one of those would be unbelievable, but I just can't see that happening.
I don't know, what do you think? I agree. I think it's going to be sort of tight, conservative. I just think that the previous 5 games, it's just not. It's not been great, is it?
I don't think there's a reason to expect a lot of goals all of a sudden, and for it to change that much. But also, I guess at these stages of the tournament, it's harder to have that kind of free flowing.
Yeah.
It's more nervy. There's more to play for.
Well, also, as well, the way that we've taken them last 5 penalties, you see teams playing for penalties. I'm not saying that we would, but obviously if it goes into extra time, you could see us going, listen, we haven't got to win this now because we've literally dispatched 5 of the last 5 with ease. So that could be another chink in our armour that we go for pens if need be.
I think there'll be a new confidence in penalties, I'd like to think. And also, by the way, without going too reflective on everything, what redemption for Saka as well, and the smile on his face. It was unreal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely sensational. I thought he played really well, and also what a goal.
Well, I did with the predictions. We've been a bit like sort of mix and match, haven't we? I had Harry Kane with a header in the previous game. You had Jude Bellingham to score. I had Saka to score last week, but ultimately we're all still on 0 points, us 3, because we're in a prediction league, aren't we? So we're not. Nothing gained, nothing lost.
Well, basically, we're doing, how when we do the podcast, normally throughout the season, we have our mini league, and whoever's bottom of that mini league with the predictions ends up doing a forfeit. Me and you, Sids, have had to do forfeits. So far, Crouchy's always done well enough that he hasn't had to do it. And basically, whoever wins throughout the Euros on the predictions, whoever wins our mini league that's been going through gets a 3-point head start going into the next season, which could be massive. However, at the moment, we're all on 0 points. True to form.
But this could change, I think, on this one.
This could change.
No, we've been whiskers away, to be fair. I think you got to remember with the Netherlands, right? They conceded 3 against Austria. They finished 3rd in their group. They they are looking better as the tournament goes on, but I think it's there for us to take it. I'm going to put my head on the line. I think we do this in 90 minutes. I think we win this 2-1.
2-1.
2-1. Do you know, I'm not a million miles away. I think we will do this. And I'm backing the lads. I'm going 2-0.
Are you?
Yeah.
2-1, 2-0. Okay.
I feel we've got a bit of that beautiful mix of confidence, siege mentality. It's not that the performances have dropped off. They're quite literally back stronger.
Yeah.
We should give a big shout out to Lando Norris as well, who managed to drop that into his interview.
He did.
After the Grand Prix. I noticed a few people messaging about that.
He really is on board passing the pod. It's great to see. And obviously, you know, since we went down to McLaren, he's really upped his game. You know, so I'm pleased with our part in that.
Well, I interviewed him before the Grand Prix, and he was chatting about playing golf with you lads in particular. I know he's very keen to do that sometime soon. He did invite me, but I don't think he realises how shit I am. I can't embarrass myself in front
let's do it. What a four ball that'd be.
Yeah.
Great.
The idea of playing golf with you boys stresses me out, if I'm being really honest.
But we'll just get on the bevvies early doors and he's relaxed.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the predictions. Do you know what? I've got a heart and head here because I want to say England. That's going to do it in 90 minutes, but there's a part of me saying it's going to be a draw.
Yeah.
It's going to go
90 minutes draw.
Yeah, and it's going to go to extra time. But I can't be that person.
I don't know, because we are taking the long way on the last couple of games.
Sids, it's important, mate. Sids, it's important. There's a 3 point. You know, it's don't worry about, like, you know, being English and wanting England to win. It's much more important than that.
So hang on, Crouchy, is this right? Is this so this is 90-minute. You have to guess in 90 minutes, right?
Yeah. So he's gone 2-1.
He's nice.
2-0.
No, but you are talking sense, aren't you?
Do you know what? I can't go. I'm going to go for England win. I want to go for an England win, and I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be 1-0. I think it's going to be 1-0. I think the way that we can get at the Netherlands is crosses. And we haven't put a load of crosses in, but I just see a cross. Whether that's going to be Trent or someone's going to be whipping a cross in and someone get on the end of it. 1-0, I'm going to go for England.
You, Chris?
I'm going to go 2-0 England.
All right, lovely. Reminder that Paddy Powell will be boosting a bet of my choice as Crouchy's Euro special for this game. I'm going for team to win, England. Player to score first. Bit of a rogue one, should boost the odds up. I'm going with Foden. I don't think he's had the opportunities to score yet. I felt like he played better in the last game. He's a key player. I feel like he will come good in this game. I think he'll run the show. I think he'll scores first. I think Kane gets the winner, but that's not part of this bet. Foden to player score first. Dutch player to be carded, yes or no? I'm going to say no. Players a little bit more safer when there's a final on the line. I don't think there'll be many cards in this one. You can find this in the special section of the Paddy Power site. Please bet responsibly. T's and C's apply.
Right, Crouchy, today we're going to try and recreate Frank de Boer, Euro 2000. He could strike a ball.
Mate, this was an absolute thunder blaster from about 65 yards. He's just run up and walloped it.
Do you know what the thing is? He doesn't run up.
No.
It's just a nonchalant. He's just walked up to the ball. I think maybe even Bergkamp's next to him. He sort of just says, like, he just gives him a nudge.
I'm going to
and
wallop
just
this.
pile drives this.
Pile drivers. Well, I wasn't known for my pile drivers. You know, these quadriceps weren't receptive to pile drivers. But I'm hoping yours will be.
We'll give this a go. I think I've got this. This is a bit of a Sidwell forte. There's a little bit of swaz in there, isn't there? So it starts it and then it fades towards the end. But the only thing that gets me on this one is it's quite far out. So, I mean, the power could have gone from these tree trunk legs.
Mate,
but we'll give it.
Not a problem, mate. You've got this in the locker.
Come on then, let's go. Let's try and do this.
Oh, that's...
I'll tell you what.
Oh!
Cheap is having me on it. He's having me on it.
Yeah, that's good.
No!
It hurts a lot.
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
Cross it. like
Yeah, but that is
but
it, isn't it?
Lower. If you start it too low, it doesn't get there. I've got this. Oh, mate, it's coming. It's coming. Keep going. Ball flat. You give it a go, though. Oh. Sydney! Oh! Mate, I'm telling you, you're going to get a little bit. You're absolutely down this one. A little bit lower. That's the one. Here we go! Oh! No. Oh! It's coming. A couple more. DK, you ready? Here we go. Oh. Last two. Here we go. Bang. Oh, that's good. Oh, Sid.
That is bloody lovely.
Boys, how was that?
I mean, that's some long range shooting.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that wasn't my forte.
Sids, you loved that.
Frustrating that because I know like the process. Like he strikes the ball so clean, the ball. You know, like when golfers that just hit it pure and it just like flies off the face. He was one of them as well. And the process is like you kind of start it just where the keeper was. Keeper's at the middle. And you just open up your foot and aim at him and just leave it open a little bit so it starts and just fades towards the end. So I got a few where the technique was right, but the power wasn't there. It was just a bit low.
It was funny watching you sort of honing in on it. So the ones that were going really wide and hitting the seats, weirdly, you were happy with those because it was sort of showing what you needed to do, and then you just reduced it. Yeah. And then one of them you got pretty close.
One just, I think, went over and just skimmed up the top of the roof of the net. Yeah. So, again, listen, another iconic goal. Someone that strikes the ball so clean. But frustrating. I feel like I could have nailed that.
Yeah. It was nice. I enjoyed it. It's like you're like blasting. I felt for me, I'm blasting, but I'm getting it on target and it's wobbling. Do you know? It's like wobble.
Well, the kind of byproduct of some of the shots was some amazing goals. But what do you make of the keeper as well? Is he sort of?
Yeah, I think he's helping us.
Just a bit, eh?
Yeah.
He's making it look good.
He's a very good goalkeeper.
He is.
And a couple of times he's made us look good.
Yeah.
I have paid him enough.
Yeah, is that what it is? Yeah. All right, we'll do another goal next week.
Okay, yeah, so Spain-France, this is actually tonight. So this is obviously before England play. I'm sure all the England staff, the camp, they'll be watching this game. But another close game. I don't see a lot of goals in this. I don't.
Pete, have you been in this situation where, so you're watching the match knowing that the result is, I mean, will all the lads be there? How obviously invested, but what is that atmosphere like in the hotel? Must be so exciting, right?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, listen, I remember playing, obviously, we were watching teams like Spain, for instance. I was sitting there watching kind of Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, Torres, David Villa, thinking, fucking hell. We're all looking around, Carl. Jesus Christ. But I don't feel...
But are you saying that to each other? What's it like in that hotel? Are you sort of trying to give this perception of confidence? Is it different to just talking to your mates? Like, it's weird to think of all the England players sat there. Are you thinking of it from a tactical point of view? How does it work?
Yeah, listen, we're watching the game. We're watching the game as fans, but you got to remember, you probably end up playing these teams. You know what I mean? Like, we're watching certain players, certain teams that are in our group. Yeah, and of course, when all the England players are together, it's not the same as when we're in a press conference. We can be open, honest. We can say what we see. We can say what players we might target. You're talking like a fan, really. But most of the time, we'd all watch it together. We'd go down to like the the room. They'd have it on in like the meeting room, and it wouldn't be like, it'd be much more relaxed. Everyone would be sitting with various mates just chatting away. It wouldn't be like analysing. It basically talking like open and honest as you would do at home. But it's definitely you'll watch it together. And it's a great crack. And let's remember, everyone who's playing enjoys watching the tournament just the same as everyone else. So the players will all be gathered round. They'll all be watching it, and I think, in my opinion, I think Spain are the best team in the tournament. They've proven that so far. I think they've been great to watch. I think Pedri's out, isn't he? Which is a blow for them. And I think France have been disappointing. Really, they've kind of scraped through. They've not played great, but there's something special about them. They know how to win, and it's one of those they could nick it. But I do think Spain are the best side in the tournament. I think they'll get through.
You say about watching it as players. I think this squad as well. They'll be watching that with the staff, and the way that relationship is with the staff and the players, I could see that sort of banter as well going in with the staff. Even players that say, like we're talking about Spain, for instance, now dominating and doing ticky-tacky football, looking over at Gareth and the old size of fucking hell, like this. we don't really want to be facing these, because they was all players as well, wasn't they? Gareth obviously as a manager. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank now obviously on the staff as well, so they obviously experienced that and knowing what goes on in the camp. It's a more light-hearted feel in this environment than in previous ones.
Yeah, I'd say so. I wonder if Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's got any inside info on the Dutch. That'd be a strange kind of scenario for Jimmy Floyd, isn't it? Like, kind of till you mentioned his name there, I've kind of thought about like. Actually, must be a mad one for him. But obviously, I think he's fully invested with the England side. But must be a strange evening for him.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions from listeners, Crouchy. Do you want to go through these?
Yeah, question from Archie. He says, when away at tournaments, how much time do players get seeing their families? Well, 2006 was probably blew it up for everyone, really. We were in Baden-Baden. We saw our families quite regularly. And we'd all know how that went. So yeah, we ballsed it up for the rest of the squads, I think. But yeah, we saw them quite a bit. I mean, Sven was very relaxed, as you know, so we were allowed to go down to the team hotel, to the family's hotel. We were up in the middle of nowhere, hidden away. We'd go down to them. They were in the town, and I have to say, obviously, all the press were in the same hotel. Wherever you sat, there was reporters around, so it was a bit of a car crash, really. Obviously, then Capello 2010 completely kiboshed seeing the families at all. But then when I look at the lads now, certainly after the games, they go and see them in the stands, don't they? And I'm sure they get a little bit of family time. But, at the end of the day, you're there to do a job. And I think you got 3-4 weeks to kind of switch off and, speak to them on the phone, but, concentrate on your job. And I think that's the right way to do it, really.
I think to take them away from their families completely is wrong. Dip in and out, but the odd day if they got a big gap in between two games, go and see the families, because it's going to be your wife, your kids, or really close friends or family. Because I think it's important.
Well, they must have one eye now on logistics around. Or do you not, Crouchy? At what point do you start entertaining the idea that you might win and you might need your family out there? And if you're going to make this historic moment that you actually want your family out there, or you want to be able to celebrate with them, it must be roundabout now. Those thoughts must start, even just from a pure logistical point of view. If your dad, if you knew that, you get to a semi-final, there's a good chance that you're going to go and win this bloody thing. Like, you have to start considering it, don't you?
No, but the organisation for the trips I have to say, for the FA is fantastic. Like the girls at the FA and the people behind the scenes, like there'll be someone designated to look after the families. Obviously, there's people designated to look after the players, sort training grounds, hotels, coaches, planes, travel. Exact same for the families. The families are treated, very well, and get on a family bus, or they'll all be looked after really well by the FA. And it certainly was in my day, and I'm sure it'd be the same now. And certainly, like every moment that you win, you want to share it with the people closer to you, don't you? And I think there'll be a huge party, won't there, if England do it in the final? It really will be.
Crouchy, I got a really good message here from Johnny. We talk about previous squads here. So, message from Johnny: on England's latest YouTube video, They have had a North v South golf tournament because they're staying on obviously a golf complex here amongst the players. When you was playing for England, who would have won out of a North v South competition?
That's an interesting question. Very good question. I'm going to go through it now, right? I don't think there wasn't loads of golfers in our squad. If I go back to 2006, right? Ashley Cole, right, plays. Southern. Stephen Gerrard, good golfer. John Terry, as we know, very good golfer. Wayne Rooney can play. Jamie Carragher didn't play golf. JMO, no golf. Michael Owen did. Peter Crouch, bang average at golf, but enjoys it.
All right, well, you've got to represent the North and South with one player each. So, who's representing?
One each. So the best player.
Well, why don't we take one from each and then decide who wins? So, best North player.
See, I've got a couple of Southern players here. Jermaine Genus and John Terry. Right? Jermaine Genus and John Terry take on Michael Carrick and Stephen Gerrard. I think South win it.
South win.
I think South come on top of that.
I'm sure.
I say this golf tournament. I say this competition. I think it wasn't an actual game. I think it was probably longest drive, and there was a few. I've seen a few clips of. Saka hit one, didn't he? And then he fell over a golf bag. That was quite funny. Trent struggled a little bit.
Well, they had a lesson from Ian Poulter, didn't they?
Yeah.
They had a little lesson and knock around with him. So I think he's trying to get Saka into golf in a bit more of a meaningful way.
Yeah.
And he was buzzing. It's amazing to see how all these extra people come out and support the national team like that. Though.
Of course,
it's
everyone's
cool
with them.
to see.
Everyone's with them. We're all behind them. Come on, England.
Yeah, we certainly are.
Right, Crouchy, you've got a boat trip booked, I think, imminently. So we need to wrap it up soon. You are on holiday.
Yeah, obviously, this has been my priority, but I am now getting on a boat.
All right, so next time we'll regroup on this.
I have to say, I am a little bit jealous of where you are, though. You are in one of my favourite pubs in London, the Devonshire, right? Are you getting treated well here?
We've called in a favour. So basically, the recording around this pod. Pete, you're away. You're abroad, so we had to do a remote recording. Chris, you work obviously around the corner, and there was no better place. It was where can we go that's convenient. So a big shout out to the Devonshire pub in Soho. Osh, always. I've known Osh for 15, 20 years. You don't find a better publican, a landlord, for someone that knows the business, knows how to run a pub. Big shout out to Ashley and Charlie, his partners as well, because the Devonshire pub, in terms of Guinness, it's the best Guinness in town. A good vibe, a great place.
Loads of people will know about this pub. It's good. It's the one that's gone massive for the Guinness. Steve's just done the full sale there, but it's gone massive, this place. And then Sid's got us onto this pub, Crouchy, didn't he? We came down here once for dinner and then ended up staying for a few drinks. We're in this back room, which is kind of famous because all these music artists and film stars and everything, they end up coming to this pub for a couple of Guinness. They always end up in this back room, and we're in there doing the pod from here right now. If these walls could talk, Crouchy, eh?
Yeah, I've seen some things in there.
We've got to do a special in here one day.
Yeah,
we'll have to record
invite a few
one.
listeners.
Yeah, we'll get a few down here. We'll have a personal.
No phones allowed, though. That's the rule in this room.
No phones.
I like that.
No. So big shout out to the Dev anyway.
His boat's about to set.
The boat's about to go, Crouchy. You're late. Get yourself out there.
Yeah. The captain, I can hear the captain fuming. And Abby, she's not too happy either.
The captain said we had half hour, but we've gone a bit over time.
Well, listen, if he wants to have a drink, let him know that you've done the Isle of Wight ferry, so you're in good hands, mate.
Yeah, no, mate. Well, listen, I've told him I've been in charge of the red funnel. All good. Cheers, guys. We'll see you next time. Hopefully England into the final.